5, students learn the A above guide note G. So here's guide note middle C, guide note G, and the A is a second up from guide note G. All right, so obviously we have to ask the students to circle these A's throughout the music, and then we ask them to plan the dynamics. All right, this is a piece that really needs to be tapped and counted a lot, and you're going to see that in my teaching videos, that this is really imperative to tap and count out loud. So first of all, the students don't know often how long that tie note gets in the left hand. Right, so we might have to put an arrow that goes down on measure 3 on the first beat so that the student knows, oh yeah, that's exactly on beat 1 is when I lift up my left hand. So let's go and do this together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So also measure 11 is another spot where they might not have a left hand that comes up in time. Measure 6 is another place they have to think 1, 2, 3 off with the left hand, right? So have them do that several times until it's 100% comfortable. I always ask my students, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the most confident, how do you feel? Maybe a 3. Okay, if it's a 3, we got to do it 5 more times, right? In order for a student to really feel comfortable. Up on the bluff, the smoke billows high, signals for those far away. Messages rise high up on the sky. High up in the sky. My tribe will know what they say. This lovely piece, which has a lot of nice thirds and seconds that the students are reviewing, is by Mary Leaf. And you'll notice that the student has to move their thumb from playing a phrase starting on an E to a phrase in the second line starting on a D. If you have not done so already, please call those steps seconds and the skips thirds, right? So students really understand the real terminology for those particular intervals. White Swan at Sunset is also by Mary Leaf. So many concepts are reviewed in that piece. The A above guide note G, 2-note slurs, the Chopin tissue box at the end of the piece, phrasing, and second and third intervals. So it's just a beautiful piece for students to envision a wonderful white swan at sunset. And you'll notice that the very, very last note is 15 MA, which means 2 octaves higher than written. On page 22 is Staccato, Dancing Raindrops, this cute little piece. So of course staccato means to play with a short separated sound, and to play staccato, as soon as you play the key, lift your wrist and forearm quickly to leave the key. So the wrist and the forearm are not tight, but they go along together on the approach to the key as well as the release from the key. The woodpecker is actually what I call the physical gesture or the touch release off of the key for basic staccato. And the reason why I do this with young children is because it's fun. So we tell our students, oh yes, imagine a woodpecker's pecking a tree, and you'll notice the wrists and the forearms stay together. They're not tight and locked like this, and they're also not floppy or loose like this, right? You don't want to play staccato like this, right? We don't want students to flop all over over the place. So the woodpecker touch release, here the students stay close to the keys. Right, and I love gestures like this where they can drop into the key and rest the fingers that are not in use on the keys. And then steadily again. Musicality girl says or asks at the end, did you play on the outside tip of your thumbnail? Tell your teacher about the staccato sound. So you know what, you could ask those questions, as I've said before they play the piece so that they know what to be focusing on. So, and a note to teachers, although staccato is a sudden movement, watch so the students don't force or stiffen their wrist or their fingers, right? We don't want to get this kind of feeling of tightness and ugliness at the keyboard. On page 24 is the Scared Rooster. This fantastic piece is by Kevin Costley. I've never met a student who doesn't love this piece. So students are reviewing that staccato touch release. This is a great teacher duet part. I wish I could play this student and the teacher duet part together, but I can't. But you can certainly listen to the recordings, and you can certainly look at the teacher and student part when you look at the teaching videos on the SATP FJH website. There's a rooster on our farm. He sensed danger from afar. He cried cuckoo, no, he cried cock-a-doodle-doo and jumped right in our car. Honk, 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 honk. Isn't that crazy? The next piece is a perfect partner piece with the Scared Rooster. It's called Melody by Haydn, and a theme is what I teach the students at the top of the page. A theme is an important melody. In 1796, the composer Franz Joseph Haydn wrote this piece for solo trumpet and orchestra for a friend, and it was first performed in 1800 at the Imperial Court Theater in Vienna, Austria. This piece is a trumpet concerto. So of course we could have our students, you know, there is a listening list on my YouTube channel, which is great. I have my students listen to those pieces as they go from year to year so that they know a lot of great repertoire. And there's so much of it from the piano method. So there's a fabulous picture of that Imperial Court Theater in Vienna. And here the students are learning the difference between legato and staccato. To teach yourself how to play, what do you notice that you're reviewing in this piece? You're reviewing, of course, legato and staccato. You're reviewing mezzo piano and mezzo forte, and you're reviewing the drip, drop, roll motion for a two-note slur, right? And I think that's the end for, no, it's not. There's one more page of Unit 6. The Haunted House is by Mary Lee. Ooh, students love that piece. Let's go ahead and look at it carefully, because the very last note in the entire piece is an A, but it's 15 MA, so it's 2 octaves lower than the note that precedes it. So I bet we should have our students practice that. And you remember way back in the prep level, I taught you a play, prepare, practice strategy. The student plays the note, then they say 3 words. Ready, so they focus. Look, so that they have to look way down there at the A, 2 octaves below. And then you say move, and they find the right finger on the correct key. So let's do that again. Ready, look, move. Oh my gosh, that was so good. I think I'm ready to play it. And the student has to remember to count. So we have them go ahead and clap and count it before they actually play it. 1, rest, 1, rest. Let's do it again. 1, rest, 1, rest. Now let's see if they can play it and count it at the same time. 1, rest, 1, rest. Good, let's do it again. 1, rest, 1, rest. Good. Now here's the haunted house. students will say, oh my gosh, do you know what? I played the wrong A. Oh my gosh, this A should be 2 octaves lower than this A that's written. So look at that. This A is the lowest A on the keyboard. Oh my goodness. So how about if I practice the last 4 notes? Play prepare. Oh my gosh, the last A with my 5th finger. Ooh, now I'll count it. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, let's do it again. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you know what? It's best if you have the student move during the rest. So 3, 4, 1, 2. See that? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise, they're going to be too late in arriving, right? If we just do this and then they just sit there during the chorus, then they're jumping and they're not going to get the right key, right? So 3, 4, 1, rest. So they're absolutely ready before they have to play the piece. The words are, there's a house they say is haunted. It's right down my street. When I have to pass that way, I really move my feet. I just heard a scary sound I've never heard before. I don't think I'll stick around. I'll run right past the door. Yikes! All right, so now we're ready for Unit 6, and I think that I should probably show you a little bit of the recital in the theory book as well. So we'll do that in the next video. See you later!